What's up guys, it's Mark here, back with another video obviously. You're watching it so you would know that already, but anyway. Today I'm not entirely sure about this video, but I want to talk a little bit about setting goals, having goals, setting goals, a little bit about mental health and stuff like that in the freelance design space. So I guess I see a lot of stuff floating around and a lot of people, I guess it's pretty common to see people advertising like stuff about self-help, lots of self-help gurus that will tell you how to like set up a successful business or be the best you and all that. And a lot of the time these people are just fakes. I think you shouldn't really have to ever pay someone to tell you how to set goals and how to be happy and stuff like that. I think, that's just rubbish. So I wanted to talk a little bit about some of the stuff that I've been through and some of the goals I set. I think another really common thing when you see people talk about goals or teaching you how to set goals is they never actually tell you about their own goals. They like to keep it private, and I think actually a big part of setting goals is sharing them with people, and it also helps to hold you accountable as well. If you tell someone that you've got this goal, they expect you to achieve it, and they're going to know if you don't make it as well. So it can be kind of motivating as well to tell other people, and they can help encourage you as well if you tell them. So it's pretty cool, and likewise you can help them. I think there's a lot of benefit to writing stuff down and writing down goals. I think one of the big mistakes people make is having goals that are either too easy or too unrealistic. And in my experiences, I think you should have goals that are both. So you should write down short-term goals that you are very confident that you can achieve, to maybe lose a certain amount of weight this month, or finish off a job for a particular client that you've been wanting to work with, or something like that, earn a certain amount of money, maybe get a certain amount of Instagram followers or YouTube subscribers, that sort of thing. And then there are other goals that you should set that are kind of long reaching and a bit not necessarily unrealistic, but the probability isn't huge, but it's still something that you can go for and there's still a chance that you'll get it. You should have those sort of goals that are hard to reach as well. So for me personally, for example, one of my goals was to become a full-time freelancer this year, and I'm now doing that. I started a while back now actually, but that was a goal that I thought was not comfortably achievable. Like I knew it was going to be really hard, but I knew that sometime this year I could make it happen, and I ended up doing it at the start of the year, which is great. Another goal, for example, would be to reach 1,000 YouTube subscribers, and I hit that the other day, so that was great. Another goal I had was to hand letter and hand draw all of the stuff for my wedding, which is in it's coming up. It's in just over 2 weeks now. So I hand drew all the invitations, I hand lettered all the little name cards and stuff for the tables. I'm in the process of painting a big welcome sign for the wedding venue and stuff like that. So that was another goal that I set when we got engaged. So it was 14, 15 months, 16 months ago or something like that. So again, those are goals that are challenging and in the future, but they are still somewhat realistic. And then I have other goals that are kind of hard to achieve, and I maybe will not get those in my lifetime. Like one of them is to do some hand lettering for a big brand like Nike or Adidas, for example. I've seen a few, I don't know, I feel like when I'm stalking other designers and stuff like that online, and then I see they've got a project with Nike, for example, doing some hand lettering, it's like, oh man, they've made it. Like to me, that's just really, really cool, and it just seems like a really cool place to do work for and stuff like that. So I don't know, maybe that's corny, maybe that'll never happen, but it's still like one of my bucket list kind of goals to get in the next 5 years or something like that. I have some other goals that people probably think are pretty unrealistic. Like I set a goal for the end of this year, which is, we're in the end of July already. I set a goal for the end of this year to hit 50,000 YouTube subscribers, and most people will think, well, you're at 1,000 now, that's never gonna happen. But I like having a goal like that, that is sort of hard to reach, but technically it's possible. It's been done. Who knows? Like I'm gonna keep grinding out videos as long as I think they're good videos. I'm gonna keep putting them out every few days as often as I can, and really making sure I spend time to invest in YouTube and stuff like that. Another thing that I think is pretty important is setting goals that are kind of outside of your comfort zone. So for me personally, like my entire life, I've had a lot of issues with mental health, particularly with anxiety and social anxiety and stuff like that. Like if you spoke to anyone that knew me as a child or through school or high school or anything, they would tell you that I never really spoke to anyone. I had like a small group of friends. I had a lot of trouble talking to people, talking to girls, talking to popular people, stuff like that. I always really struggled. I would struggle to, even though I was kind of smart, I would struggle to put my hand up in class to answer a question. In case I got it wrong, I'd feel really humiliated and stuff like that, even though, you know, I did pretty well at school. Lots of stuff like that that plagued me for pretty much my entire life. I didn't really even realize that it was a thing. I just thought I was pretty shy, and then I was in my early 20s. I'm 26 now. I think I was about 23 when I actually found out what anxiety disorder is and stuff like that, and started researching it. And that was a massive game changer for me, because I actually started to learn what was happening in my head and maybe why it was happening and how I could work on fixing it. And now, you know, a couple of years later, I'm leaps and bounds ahead of that stuff. I don't have issues with that sort of thing anymore. It's pretty rare for me to get anxious. And one of the things that was really important to me was getting outside of my comfort zone and talking to people that I wouldn't normally talk to. And that was a kind of a scary thing for me, because my other goal was to become a full-time freelancer. And so I was worried that if I went full-time freelancer, I would be at home or alone all the time, and that would be sort of the counter of what would be helpful for social anxiety. When I struggle with anxiety, I should be outside and I should be communicating regularly with other people. So I came up with the plan to start a YouTube channel, because even though I'm not necessarily physically talking to you guys, talking on camera is still something that I always found really daunting, and I always wanted to have a channel but was way too scared to do it and stuff like that. And so if you went to my YouTube channel a while back, you'd find that there was like 1 or 2 videos that I released pretty far apart. Then there was a huge gap before I started uploading regularly, because that for me was a really game-changing thing. Those were the times when I was trying to overcome that fear. Looking at those videos, I was absolutely crapping my pants recording them. I don't know if people will be able to tell, but I was super nervous and stuff like that. And that was a really massive milestone for me. So a goal for me was to start uploading to YouTube somewhat regularly so that I could overcome some of that anxiety from being on camera and talking to people and stuff. And I think I've done that now. You know, I'm putting out videos every 2 or 3 days now, which I'm really happy about. Another thing that really helped me with that was doing live streams and stuff. I know some of you guys have tuned in when I do live streams, so I draw on camera, and I hate having people watch me work. So that's another way that I stepped outside my comfort zone. I set a goal to start doing somewhat regular live streams. I think I've probably done 4 or 5 of them now, and people come along and they watch me draw. They see every single mistake. They get to see everything I do. They're basically looking over my shoulder, and it's been a really amazing experience for me. People get to come in, they learn stuff from me. We hang out, we talk. I learn about them while they learn about my process and ask questions, and it's like a really, I don't know, it's like a really fulfilling experience for me to be live streaming and helping people. It's the same with the YouTube videos, to get messages from people on Instagram and stuff like that saying that it helps, and then asking questions and then me answering them and them getting benefit from that is really fulfilling. So in a way, it's almost, I guess it is kind of selfish because it helps me as well, you know, so that's one of the reasons why I like it so much. Another thing on the mental health note was that when I did start learning about mental health and all the stuff that was going on in my head and all that, I actually did see a psychologist. I got help for a while, and that was like absolute monumental improvement. I can't remember how long that was for. I think I was seeing my psychologist for maybe 2 months or something like that. So it started off with me seeing her pretty regularly, like a couple times a week, and then excuse me, then once a week, and then once every couple weeks, and then once a month sort of thing. And it was like that for a little while, and I can't tell you how much it helps to talk to someone about it who knows what's going on. They help explain why something happens. Like if you have a panic attack all of a sudden, they can explain the science of, train going past. So yeah, anyway, as I was saying, so it really helps to have someone to talk to about that sort of thing, because if you have like a panic attack, like I would have panic attacks before work pretty much every morning, so I would never eat breakfast, felt sick all the time, before school, before uni, all that stuff. I would feel sick in my stomach and just thought it was just part of who I am, or I was sick or something like that. Then you see a psychologist and they explain exactly what's happening, adrenaline, cortisol, all this other stuff, what you can do to work on that and why it might be happening, and ultimately what your goals should be and stuff like that. Total game changer. That I haven't had a panic attack in freaking forever. Like I can't even remember the last one I had. It was probably like a couple of years ago now, or a year ago or something. It's ages ago. So if you are out there and you are kind of having issues with stuff like that, maybe anxiety, depression, or any kind of mental health stuff, I would definitely recommend talking to someone about it. Go and see your local GP or whatever, and they'll refer you to someone local that's good. And yeah, definitely do that. Alternatively, reach out. I'm always around, so if you have any questions about that sort of thing, feel free to ask me, and I'll tell you about my experiences and stuff like that. But I guess ultimately, one of the big things is when it comes to things that we're afraid of or when we're anxious about, the longer we avoid that thing, the worse the anxiety of it becomes. So the higher, it's almost like we perceive something to be a threat. So if we were cavemen or whatever, and then a tiger was nearby, we would see that tiger, perceive that it's a threat to our safety, and adrenaline would start rushing through our body, and our digestive system would shut off and stuff like that, because we don't need it in that moment, and we have to decide if we're going to fight or flee, fight or flight. So stay and confront the thing we're afraid of, or leg it and get out of there. I think for most of us these days that we end up legging it and running from the things we're afraid of. But I guess if you imagine, if you're afraid of, let's say talking to someone, like having a phone conversation with someone, for example, if you imagine that you rang 5 different people every single day for a month, you would pretty quickly get over that fear, and you wouldn't really struggle as much with that as long as you kept it up pretty regularly. So that's a kind of an important thing as well. I think just kind of facing what you're afraid of. Ultimately, it should always start in small doses and stuff like that, but ultimately that should be part of your long-term goal. Sorry, I feel like this video totally turned from goals and stuff into just like me talking about mental health, so I'm sorry about that, but that's something that's really close to home for me. So yeah, I guess when it comes to goals, you should be writing them down. Definitely write them down. Don't type them, physically write them down. Don't know why, just makes a difference. Same as writing lists. Even if I use Trello or something like that and write a list on my computer, it's never as effective as when I physically write it on paper and then I scratch things off as I finish them and goals that I achieve. There's some interesting talk and some studies I think floating around from people that have written down goals every single day. So they rewrite the goal every day. This week I will do this. This month I will achieve this. This year I will achieve this. So some short term, some long term. And there's some interesting talk from people who have done that and spoken really highly of doing it every single day like that, rather than writing it and then just kind of sticking it aside. So something to keep in mind there too. So yeah, in summary, I guess you should be writing down your goals every day, short term, long term, realistic, somewhat unrealistic. Your goals should involve your comfort zone and things that you're afraid of. I don't think you should really be paying other people to teach you how to write goals and stuff like that. I think you should be skeptical of pretty much anyone you meet that says that they are a self-help person. For example, someone that wants to help you set up a business, make sure you ask what kind of businesses they've run before and what impacts they've had on other people's businesses. And yeah, if you're out there and you're having a tough time and going through mental health issues and stuff like that, please don't give up. There's always light at the end of the tunnel, without being too corny and too cliche, but it can definitely be done. It can definitely be, it can become something that you overcome, and then it becomes one of your strengths. You've overcome it and you look at life completely differently. So don't give up, keep working towards your goals, and if I can be of any assistance, please don't hesitate to send me a message. Hopefully this video wasn't a complete waste of time. If you enjoyed it, please consider doing the old thumbs up and maybe sharing it or subscribing to the channel and stuff like that, so I can hit my goal, my somewhat unrealistic goal of 50k subscribers. And yeah, I will see you guys in the next video, and have a great day.